Good morning, folks, and welcome to FYI. Welcome, Annette Cummins, Fennel Innes, Deborah Leach. Welcome, Dolly Anderson. Good to have you. Good to have you, folks, wherever you're joining us from. And of course, lots of you are joining us from YouTube. Our tubers, we hope that you guys are great. Guys, happy Tuesday. It's the morning after the night before. That budget there, folks. Yep. I think it's 781.9. 781.9. Biggest budget ever. Full stop. Biggest budget ever. Full stop. Beatrice Selby, good to see you. And all the other guys who are joining us. It's our privilege to be here. Winston Granada is here. Winston, good to see you. Leon Blair is here too with us. Good to have you folks, wherever you all are joining us from. Again, it's a privilege, real privilege to have each and every one of you with us, guys. Real privilege. Welcome. We're going to give you guys a second or so. Not too long, a second or so to share the live, to smash that emoji button, folks. And then we move on. Good folks. That's what's going to happen. So share, smash that emoji button. We're going to do the same thing quickly, folks. We're going to do the same thing too. We got a lot to share with you guys. A lot to think you guys ought to know about. A lot. Good to see each and every one of you here, guys. We hope the days are a fantastic start. Welcome to FYI for your information. Wherever you guys are joining us from, we are happy to see you, folks. We are happy, guys. We happy. Happy to see you guys. So happy to see you. We love this time with you. Love it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Would not trade it for the world. Good to have you guys. Trust you guys having a good breakfast. You got to start the day right. Folks. Don't come wrong with like that, Don't come wrong with like that. I'm begging you. Don't do it. Start the day right. What are you guys having? Having some black coffee this end. Hot black coffee this end. Hope it's the same where you guys are. Whether you're joining us on Twitter, Facebook, you're joining us on the Tube, wherever you guys are joining us from. You're on LinkedIn. Those of you who tune in from LinkedIn, we're happy. Roxanne Aaron, we're happy you're here. Oren Don Cook and Elizabeth Kitt, we see you as well, guys. It's good to have each and every one of you. Let us know you're hearing the audio great, folks. Let us know all the technicians on duty. And you don't wait, folks. Oren Don, Tessa, Claudette, don't wait. Tessa, Waterman, don't wait. Just share the live. Don't even wait. Guys, good to see you. Where you all joining us from? We got a lot to share with you. I wish we had an opener for the morning. We start right away with some of what's happening with the budget, some reactions to the budget. I wish we had an opener. I wish we had an opener for the morning. But we trust that you guys are good. You know what? It's we show. It's our show. We can do it how we want to do it. If we say opener, it's opener. Who vex? Who vex good people? If we say opener, it's opener. It's a lot happening, A lot of things happening. Good folks with the budget and reactions to the budget. And so if we say it's opener, it's that. Good to have you guys here wherever you are joining us from. Guys, we're happy. If you guys are happy, we're happy for you folks. Daniel King is here, and I see a Facebook user, Urban is loud and clear. Happy about that. Fair Alliance, we see you as well. Folks, sending you some cyber hugs this morning. Hope it's warm where you guys are, and if not, even more so, we're sending you the warmth of some cyber hugs. Deborah McDonald, good to see you there. Seymour George, and all the other guys who are joining us, wherever you folks are tuning in from. Good to have you guys with us, guys. Lots of reactions to that budget that was passed yesterday. 781.9. That's what we think the guys are telling us. 781.9. Lots of reactions to that budget, folks. I think we're going to start with one. Put you all in a budget frame of mind. We're going to start with one, folks. And we're going to end the program with one. Why don't we start with budget reaction, folks? Kemraj Ramjadan, leader of the Alliance for Change, responding last evening to the budget. It wasn't quite finished when we were speaking, but actually wasn't finished. Reading the national budget was just over 5 hours when he completed the national budget 2023. And here is leader of the Alliance for Change, Mr. Kemraj Ramjadan, giving us his impression of budget 2023.
Look, I am tired of listening to the finance minister, and the quality of the budget presentation still going on after almost 5 hours is rather painful. But the contents of it too is tremendously worrisome. I think it is probably Ashni's most dismal performance in the context of an inheritance that he acquired as a result of the oil and gas petroleum agreement that we signed on, that has created billions of US dollars. And the emphasis of being infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure all the time, knowing very well that we have a country where almost 40% of the people do not work or can have $10 a day US. It is rather remarkable for its underwhelming nature. Look, this is going to anger a lot of Guyanese people. Sugar workers, public servants, self-employed, the kinds of things that you would want to ramp up for them is not forthcoming in this budget at all. Because of its infrastructure emphasis, there will be massive corruption of all that money. I rather suspect by the end of the night, this budget will total in the vicinity of about 800 to 900 billion Ghana dollars. We saw last year, 2022, where they started off with a $599 billion budget, and then they ended up with 4 financial papers that made the thing total almost 700 billion. They're going to go lots more than that this year. But the working people of Guyana are not going to be, whether direct or indirect, beneficiaries at all. And that is, what is angering and worrisome and troublesome. I would have expected that they would have given lots more disability benefits from $14,000 that we know they have presently, and we had asked for in the vicinity of about 40. We wanted to see old age pensions increase to 50. We wanted to see VAT also reduced by a further 2%. And when you do these things, you ensure that all sectors will benefit. That is not what is forthcoming here. And so many people have been critical that after 2.5 years of the PPP government, this is now going to be like its third budget. We are not in any way benefiting from that oil largesse that the coalition government signed on to in 2016. And it is a kind of an argumentation that he is making that we are going to go places with that kind of budget. It is not going to take us anywhere excepting with the contracts that will be given out in relation to roads, construction of public sector buildings, schools, and all of that will mean that a section of the population, already about 1%, are going to benefit from the massive billions here and not the ordinary people. I also want to say that one would have expected on this budget that the students and graduates of the University of Guyana, both campuses, would have seen at least some monies going to write off the loans that they have to pay, so that they will have more money in their pockets to do probably entrepreneurial activities. Nothing was mentioned under education, as far as I could recall, in relation to University of Guyana. And the harshness of heavy loans that students had to pay, and of course the continuing expensive fees that they have to pay, for the new students have to pay, going to have a debilitating effect on the training, a kind of a skilled workforce. And that is not going to help them at all. I am surprised there too that with all the monies that they have gotten, we did not see more going in, as I said, for the working people. It is striking knowing very well that a lot of the civil society have been asking for that. A lot of the political parties outside of government have been asking for that. And especially in the editorials of newspapers and so on, indicating that you must do something better for the working people so that the inflation that is so high, the cost of living that is so high, could have been, in a sense, neutralized with increase in income or purchasing power by the reduction of, let's say, the VAT and so on. And so, all in all, and it is continuing there. It is a lot. It is probably the most wordy of the budgets. 5.5 hours, and he indicated to us that he's going to go on for about 6 hours. It is not really. And what I find that he has done here is literally from each, let's say, of the department of government, or the ministries of government, whatever they literally might have asked for, he is just cutting and pasting together. A budget should be a grander vision as to what will happen here. That is not forthcoming. It is like the accountant he is. What we had required is something from an economist. And that's my major criticism. It is not going to help Guyana. There is nothing that zooms in on the difficulties of people's lives. It is infrastructure oriented and not people oriented.
Yep, welcome back, folks. Kemrat says it's not going to help. It's not going to help us at all. This budget 2023. I see a lot of comments, a lot of people reeling from this budget, a lot of folks reeling from it, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. But I think one of the main points that Kemrat makes there is that it goes back to the 2016 production sharing agreement that you always quarrel with. They always quarrel with, and what do they have in place? They came in promising to renegotiate the production sharing agreement of 2016. Not a word, not a line has been changed since then. And it is that production sharing agreement with ExxonMobil that has us where we are. It is on that they're drawing down this $61.9 billion. How much ever it is, that huge sum of money. It is on that, right? But they don't cost me not anymore for that. Everything else, new AFC, you guys know it so acutely, get cost down for. They don't cost us down for that anymore. Not so. No. Because you know why? They're getting some yields from that, Don Sullivan. 781.9 billion. June Cameron, they're getting some yield from that. Rondo Gordon, all the other folks. Fitzherbert Jarrett, good to see you, Chief. Good to see you, Fitzherbert. Vanetta, Waldron, Anthony, good to have Walton Anthony, good to have you. Vanita, Waldron Anthony, Margaret Morris, good to see you, Margaret. Hope that you are well. It is that production sharing agreement of 2016 that the current government are drawing down on. This $781.9 billion. Right? But they fault you for everything else. Everything else they fault you for, but not that. Folks, as you can tell, we're about to head into the morning papers. We trust that you guys are well where you folks are. We got quite a few things we want to share with you folks. Quite a few things we want to share with you guys. And we're out, folks. Take the opportunity to share the live. Smash that emoji button, guys, and partner with us as well. Partner with us, partner with we. We got a couple of things we're going to shoot your way, good folks. Not plenty, a couple. We're going to shoot your way, and then we're going to have a go at it. Good to see each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from this morning. First up in the morning papers, what do we have, folks? First up. You see what's happening there? Budget 2023. Private sector like it. All right? The private sector like it. No surprises there. The private sector like it. What about the man in the street? You know, we kept hoping for little fireworks somewhere in this thing, but everything was damp. You know, we thought we had a little explosion somewhere. A little razzle-dazzle for the people. A little razzle-dazzle. But alas, as Avanzi said, alas, it wasn't to be. David Wood, we were expecting a little something, man. A little something somewhere in there. So the budget 2023 to all Guyanese, private sector and government. Right? Lockstep. They got some set pieces. Something happens, you can see somebody private sector get a call and say, put out this statement. Manufacturing Association gets a call, put out this statement. Right? They're in lockstep. So no surprises here. No surprises here. If they can tell us what's in there for the common man, that's another story. I saw one headline says, 50 billion, Donald McDonald. Sandra Holder, 50 billion will go into people's pocket. 50 billion from 781.9. So what the rest of the money doing? Huh? Delia Silcott. What the rest of the money doing? If only 50 billion go in every pocket. 700 and how much ever thousand? 50,000 of us. 50 billion among us. Right? What the rest of this budget going for? The rest is friends, family, and favorite, folks. The rest got to be friends, family, and favorite. Got to be that. So again, private sector, right off the bat, according to script, private sector says a nice budget. They ain't got no problem. The folks are saying, oh, that style is a nice budget. Right? Yeah. And all the stuff we're following, folks, all the headlines we're following. Look, it's like, is everybody pushing? Is everybody trafficking? They ain't got a day. You know that Sri Manuel, Vanilla Garnet, Lynn for that. They ain't got a day we come out here. We didn't tell you now about a housewife, you know, with cocaine, with guns, with ammunition, with marijuana. Pregnant woman, they're telling us, was busted with $37 million worth of ganja. She's placed on $200,000 bail. Yep. $37 million worth. That's the current report of ganja. She's on $200,000 bail. Yep. Believe it or not, folks. Believe it or not. And that's what's going down on that side. $37 million. Beulah, London. For the one of Eccles housing scheme. Yep. And the folks are saying that during an operation last week, Beulah, London of Eccles housing scheme was arrested. 41 years old. $37 million worth. That's a lot. That's not a little plant pot of marijuana, you know. That's like a whole forest. And we're seeing, like, this is a new feature. Right? Women, housewives, and so on. One woman told the police, we rehearsed it for you yesterday's program. I got to feed the children. It's a hustle. Selling cocaine is a hustle for her. To feed the children. At least that's what she said. Right? It's to feed the children. Right? We say here, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. You can't do the time, folks. Don't do the crime. There's another headline we're following. Remember the story of Babita Sarju? Well, her husband finally confessed to murdering her. Right? Hired a hitman to do the job. Such a coward he was. Hired a hitman to do the job. And then what was startling, I don't know if you all remember this one, Candy. What was startling is that he buried her in the backyard of his house. They were separated for some period of time, Winston and Rhonda. And the reports indicate he paid a hitman to end their life. Right? Paid a hitman to end her life. And this is her husband. His name is Narayan. He goes by Narayan. Right? Sharanand Narayan. Right? Paid a hitman $100,000. That's what his wife's life was worth. $100,000 he paid the hitman, according to the report. Yeah, to kill his wife. $100,000. And yesterday he changed his plea to guilty. I hope the state, in sentencing and so on, send a very strong signal to the society. I hope they send a very, very strong signal to the society, because it's a bundle of nonsense. A whole bundle of nonsense we're seeing on it. I hope they send a very, very strong signal. Very strong signal. And then, in other things in the morning papers, guys, we saw an overseer was fired. He had to be really disgusting. Because we know these are the types that the PVP like. He must corrupt, She was known for thief and beat women and so on. So when you see Dharmlal, of all people, fired Ravindra Das, the CEO of number 52 to 74, NDC. Right? When Ravindra Das was fired, you got to know he must see the devil self. If Dharmlal got to fire you, he said he used to be taking sand and so on. They call him the Sandman. From the Borbis seashore and selling to contractors, among other allegations. Right? But I got a feeling that Devendra going push up his head someplace else. I got a feeling Devendra, you don't see the last of him. Devendra going to surface someplace else, Yolanda. Annette, Wanda Hudson, Devendra going to circle some other place. I got a feeling. Folks, I got a sneaky feeling. Right? Devendra coming again, someplace else. Those are just some of the things, guys, making the morning papers. Just some of the things making the morning papers. Well, we got to go and shoot over to what's happening, folks, internationally. We're going to shoot over there, talk about some stuff that are happening regionally, folks, and then we're going to talk about some stuff that are happening in the 592 as well. Yep, in the 592. Here are a couple of things, folks, happening internationally. Wherever you're joining us from, guys, what are you having for breakfast? Don't come wrong with no hungry belly, you know. Your belly growling. What are you guys having for breakfast? Well, a lot of things brewing internationally, I can tell you that. Quite a few things brewing internationally. Yep. Quite a few, my good people. Quite a few brewing internationally, and let's have a go at it. First up, guys. First up, hear this. Stop the clock. Hear this. Putin got some long-range missiles. The people said they're hitting a whole set of wrong targets. Putin, Russia there. Some long-range missiles not really functioning, not really ranging how they should be ranging, Candy. Orindon, Belamola, the things not hitting the targets. One of them hit a hospital, killed 40 people. And so the U.S. authorities have the impression they're really off the guidance system. Roderick Henry. I don't know how Putin ended up in this war. I'm really looking thin out here. This thing was supposed to be wrapped up in a week, 2 week stops. But it's like 2 years now. And Putin out here looking real thin. Real thin. That's just one of the things, guys, we're looking at in the morning papers. Just one of those things. Putin. You got some friends here. Got some clones here. Yep. Think we have another issue with tracking internationally. Yes. In the UK, folks, Sunak might be snacked to some people just now. Because they're proposing to give the police some, what they call it, unprecedented powers during protests, and people, protesting for the democratic, exercising the democratic right. Yeah. Giving the police proposing some extraordinary powers. Where's our friend from this neck of the woods? Where there? Kwame Williams, we see you there. Out front part, Joel Ward, we see you as well. Right? Well, this freedom of assembly and freedom of speech and all of that. Well, Sunak said, y'all don't come rugby funny. That's what Sunak said, and try to enforce some very, very strong, anti-protesting laws. Very, very strong anti-protesting laws. Some very strong laws, yeah? That's how going on that side, folks. Something happening regionally as well. This coffee is the jam, folks. This coffee, is the jam. Lots of happening regionally as well. Quite a few things happening regionally as well we want to draw to your attention. And I think first up, when you are doing at 8, when you were 8, not 8 o'clock, when you were 8, folks, what were you doing? When you were 8 years old, what were you doing? Do let us know. What were you doing at 8, folks, at 8? Well, this young lady in Trinidad, right? Caitlin Sultan, 8 years, and she is the youngest person to make it into the chutney soccer semis. The semifinals, the youngest person to do it at 8 years old. God got some talent, God got some talent. 8 years. Caitlin Sultan making the chutney soccer semis. You notice how young Michelle Montano started? Maybe a little younger. They say I'm too young for soccer. You know the point, things that work out, I gotta fall back. Yeah. That was Marshall when he was as young as she was, as she is. They say I'm too young for soccer. Some of y'all know them, man. Y'all too young. Candy would know that. Anna Phillips, you would know that. June Cameron, you're too young, man. And it shows. Irwin Dunn, you would know that. Beatrice, I might as well have been singing in Spanish to some people. Guyana nowadays, that's where we're joining us from. We're happy you guys are here. Caitlin Sultan, 8 years old. And Shindy, chutney soccer finals. Yep, that's one of the things happening on that front, folk. I think we have something else happening in the region as well. Do we? Yes, in Grenada. The Prime Minister is saying, that too many guns in the tongue. Too many guns passing around. Right? Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell made that comment quite recently. He said, illegal guns, too many. We got the same problem here. But Ben and them boys ain't saying nothing. Ben and them boys ain't saying nothing. Dickon Mitchell, he sounded the alarm. Too many illegal guns coming in here, folks. Too many illegal guns coming in to Grenada. Too many. I love it. You got to be proactive, You can't wait till both gonna fall, then trying to come back. Dickon and team there trying to be very, very, very proactive. They're trying. I think we're in the 592 now. I think that's where we'll be. I think that's where we're there. In the 592, good folks. We're in the 592, in the 5, the 9, and the 2. Good to have you guys with us. Wherever you folks are joining us, from those of you joining us on Facebook, those of you who are joining us on the Tube, LinkedIn, wherever, Instagram, on the TikTok, Glenn Lal voice, and the TikTok, right? On the TikTok, wherever you're joining us from, welcome, FYI, welcome, folks. I might be thinking a little too fast. See, I might be thinking a little too fast. I just might be moving a little too fast. I think we got enough. Very before, I think we have another regional issue to touch on. Just before we head off, good folks, I think we have another regional issue to touch on, and this time it pertains to Dominica, Roosevelt's carrot over there, or brother in Dominica. Right? Carrot in Dominica. He says the number of domestic violence incidents is worrying, troublesome. You don't hear Ali, Irfan Ali, and domestic violence and so on. And the folks who speak on it get a little credibility. You don't hear them boys on that. But Prime Minister of Dominica, right? The Prime Minister of Dominica, he says, it's getting out of hand and we got to arrest it. Out of hand and we need to arrest it. That's what they're telling us. Yep. Out of hand and we need to arrest it. That's how you lead. Head on, tackling the problem. Head on. We say kudos to him. Kudos to him for that. We're not chinksing. We're not chinksing at all, good folks. And we double back now to the 592. And for those of you who didn't know, they said the fire that took down Christchurch Secondary School, flattened Christchurch, was maliciously set. That's what Ghana Fire Service telling us today. That fire was maliciously set. Yep. To burn down the Christchurch Secondary School. Yeah, that's what they're telling us. But we believe they ran out of electrical excuses based on the fact that they had already done the inspection the week before. And now this is the limb you jump on. This is the limb you jump on, good folks. This is the limb. Other things we got happening, folks. Only boy Schumann. Man says nice budget. Schumann says a nice budget, nice time. That's what he said. Nice time budget. Yep. Believe it or not, he said it demonstrates the confidence of the government in its economic performance. Budget 2023. And then he went on to say capacity to it shows that the government has capacity to deliver. Quite interesting. Well, you can't forget Rhonda Gordon and Donna McDonald, Erica Sam, Yvette Madu, Glenn Ford. Can't forget that your boy Schumann works, is an advisor to the government on aviation. Yep, an advisor to the government to the government on aviation. Big salary and a lot of perks. Big salary, folks, and a lot of perks. We're happy for him. You know, some of us feel differently, but we're happy for him. In this one democracy that we got, we're happy for him. Yep. In other news, good folks. In other news, we saw teenager Ryan Henry stabbed to death in Barometer. Stabbed to death in Barometer. Yeah. Violence, all over you go. All over you go. Somebody stumbled upon him, rushed him to the hospital. That was it. Yeah, that's how young people are going. That's how young people are going. Well, we're supposed to be getting a visitor. Laura Flores is coming out of the UN, has a big position with the UN, and she's on a familiarization tour. Yeah. She's going to be here on a familiarization tour quite shortly. On a familiarization tour. Be happy for her. I guess you got to be in good behavior now. And then we come around to the big issue, folks. The big issue this morning. The $781.9 billion budget. The $789 billion budget. Folks, what a jet it was. What a jet it was, good folks. Well, as we continue, folks, we've been talking to some folks, getting their reaction, to budget, and nobody ain't got no script. You give them, everybody says, say this. Like some other people. Your name, Carly, you know yourselves. One of the persons we spoke with yesterday on this budget, Member of Parliament, Beverly Alert. Member of Parliament, Beverly Alert, we spoke to her. Her reaction to the budget. Take a look, guys, and take a listen.
We've been here over 3 hours listening to the Minister with Responsibility for Finance, and I'm still waiting to be wowed. It is so uninspiring. You're waiting to hear something that is really being delivered for the ordinary Guyanese people. Not only the big contracts, build roads, build bridges, build schools. But for the ordinary Guyanese man and woman, the taxi driver, the minibus driver, the barbers, the cosmetologists, the market vendors, and you're not hearing anything that is really going to directly benefit these people. What we're having is a lot of rehash with the percentage markup. So a lot of what happened in 2022, getting a little bit more in 2023, $4 billion for Gaisuko. Well, we all know that's just probably for the first quarter. All through the year, they're going to be coming with supplementary figures, papers to pour more money into Gaisuko. So budget 2023 really hasn't inspired me. Don't give me hope that, well, things are gonna be better in this fastest growing economy, this side of the world. A lot of the money coming in from the oil and gas sector. But where is it going? That is the problem, the carbon credits, the money. Where is it gonna go? All of it seemed to be heading towards the haves, the big boys, contracts for the boys. We're hearing a lot of that. But for the ordinary folks, sadly, no, I don't see it happening.
Things for the boys. Things for the boys. You heard that? She said it's a rehash plus 10. It is a rehash. It's a rehash plus 10. Yeah. What did you guys think hearing that budget? There got a couple of things that struck me, guys. A couple of things that struck me in this budget. All is not well. All is not well. The minister with responsibility for finance in the office of the president, Ashley Singh, sugar declined by 18.9%. They pour in more billions and is expected to decline further in 2023. And they're pouring more billions into sugar. 18.9%. Their own figures. Their own figures. That's what they're telling us about sugar. Their own figures suggest, guys. Their own figures suggest that sugar ain't coming back. Ashnee's at 781.9. And sugar contracted, according to what they're telling us, 81.9% in 2022. They're pouring 4 billion. And he talked about how many persons are hired in the sugar industry. They ain't producing no profit. You're giving it more money. Declined by 18.9%. That was a little startling for me. The fishing industry is supposed to be the strong point. Contracted by 4.8%, according to Ashley. The fishing industry contracted. Gold production declined by 2.5, contracted by 2.5. Gold production. Right? Manufacturing of pharmaceuticals down 33%. Ain't they working in this country? Net foreign investment. Net foreign direct investment. Contracted in 2022. Yep. Contracted in 2022. Excise tax. Also, they're telling us, showing a huge contraction in the collection of excise tax. Yep. So, we're functioning, right? According to them, sugar is down, fishing is down, gold mining is down. What's working in this place, good folks? We're working here. Yvette Madu, we're working here. Yolanda, what is working here? Well, one of the persons we spoke with yesterday was Randy, our very own Randolph Cuchillo. Randy, we spoke with Randy as a counselor. We spoke with him. He had some thoughts of his own. Budget 2023. Take a listen to our brother Randolph Cuchillo and his own impression of the budget.
I'm not inspired. I don't feel inspired. I don't feel, and I'm sure that this is how the Guyanese people feel listening to it. I have listened with keen ears to what it has to offer in terms of culture, youth, and sport. And the uninspiring nature continues even under that sector. I want to point out a few things, Sherrod, because some of these numbers might go over people's head. Now, it has been announced that culture, youth, and sport would receive about $7 billion, 4.3 going to sport, um, and 900 million going to youth. But let me just highlight them in particular. This government, especially with youth, they have failed to address the major concerns of our young people. We heard all manner of things about what they would have been doing, all manner of things about what they would have been doing, but we have not heard about any program or programs that will address the issue of preparing our young people for the oil economy. Like like with the Gold Scholarship that doesn't offer scholarships with programs or that would address training young people for the oil economy. We have not heard from this government anything about training our young people in those areas that they were able to take up those jobs, and that's very concerning for me. I see they've allocated a couple $1 billion, $1.4 billion for culture also. I again, and I will continue to press on this issue. They have not addressed the major concerns coming out for those RTs. And again, how much of this $1.4 billion, shared, will be allocated for payment to the minister's wife, who seems to be occupying a huge portfolio on the culture. And so these are some of the issues that we want to be addressed. Sports, 4.3 out after 3.2 billion, we see another 4.3 billion dollars, and there is a focus on some infrastructure development, but nothing that will deal with real sport development and moving at least from where they are and working to ensure that they are trained, and we have those sort of things in place. So again, underwhelming as Amanzo would have mentioned, but it seems as though we've heard this before. We've heard this in the supplementals. We heard this before, and it just seems as if some more money has been added on it, and the minister has rattled off all of these things that has not impressed anyone. And especially, I go back as I finish up here, especially when it comes to the youth and youth development. We have not heard any substantial, anything that makes any sense in terms of training young people for where the country is actually going. And that is my major concern, my major takeaway from this.
We started a little after 2 p.m. today, and it's just about 4 hours later. I can only say that, we've had 4 hours of the same old jargon, and I worry that I have not heard anything yet that puts more money into the pockets of Guyanese, of most of our citizens. So, for example, we know that Guyana is the fastest growing economy. We've heard all those great figures in terms of, what some of the budgetary allocations are going to be, what the big projects are going to be. But unless the minister is coming back to talk, for example, on education, he's covered quite a bit on education, but I've not heard anything yet in terms of some kind of support for students that are attending University of Guyana. As you know, the AFC took some time to really analyze what it is that citizens in Guyana needed today. And you can't be talking about ensuring Guyanese are able to participate through a local content mechanism and not giving our students an opportunity to get the necessary qualifications that will allow them to apply and be successful in those applications to work in all the various opportunities that we're seeing that's emerging in our new oil and gas industry. So it's those kinds of transformational inputs that I'd hoped to see and I haven't seen yet. Why is there nothing for UG? I suppose that really the budget to me has been extremely flat for this 4 long hours we've been sitting here. And I don't know, in the end, the minister is going to try to come to some Cassandra, and to pull everything back and to then tell us how much he's increasing pensions, how much he's increasing, for example, the minimum wage, what he's giving in terms of additional support to the private sector, to citizens, to the public sector employees. Those are the kinds of things that I wanted to see. We went through infrastructure, and of course, you can't talk about everything, but we went through the infrastructure. We talked a bit about bridges. I don't hear any kind of relief for persons that are traveling through, over, to and from the Berbice Bridge, for example. Just the other day, we were talking about the fact that inflation now is close to 8%. And the reality is that we know that food items have increased. Sunday's editorial in Stabrook News talked about Bora going up and increasing more than 150%. And yet, you miss an opportunity to say people traveling across the bridges in Guyana should not pay a toll. And that extra money could help to guarantee that maybe some of the agricultural produce coming from Region 5, Region 6, from any other region of the country has an opportunity to come into town at a little cheaper and maybe a more competitive price. So for me, oh, the other thing we just heard about is the Tourism and Hospitality School going to Port Morant. Now, we've been talking about this tourism and hospitality school for many, many years. And in fact, in 2015, we were able to secure the loan through this Caribbean Development Bank that was going to build that hospitality school. Of course, after 2018, there was a shutdown in monies that could be spent by the APNU AFC, and sometimes we forget that that was an important reason why so many of the great ideas and projects we started with could not be completed. But look at it this way. We stand up and we pontificate about all these hotels that are coming in this year. And where are these hotels located? Except for the one in Tamari, all the hotels by the airport, all the hotels are going in the East Coast area and the East Bank area. Why would you put a hospitality training school that would serve the needs of all these hotels that are going to require trained staff? Why would you put that training entity in Port Morant? Do you expect the private sector that are now going to build these hotels to have to transport current staff, potential staff, all their new employees, all the way to Port Morant to be able to be trained to the level that's going to be internationally recognized? It does not make sense. And to pontificate about increases in the amount of visitor arrivals, you have to look at the details. And during the course of next week, we're going to be doing that. Because there's one thing in terms of the amount of people coming to Guyana and the amount of people coming for tourism, meaning how many of those visitors actually at a minimum did a trip to Kaieteur? How many of the private sector tourism organizations are actually going to get and are getting packages, returns, inputs from that? And to what extent? Thankfully, we have an excellent tourism product. It's always been expanding. But these are the things that are missing in the tourism sector for years. The biggest problem has been the lack of comfortable vehicular accommodation in the interior in our tourism locations. And by that I mean that a 4x4 vehicle is no longer a luxury. A 4x4 vehicle is a minimum standard. The amount of questionnaires that have been completed by tourists in the past, and they've said, one of the things that has been really disheartening to them is having to pile up in a minibus to go into the Rupununi, to go into some of the locations in Region 10 and other parts of the country. But as you know, going into the Rupununi without a comfortable vehicle is a real issue. And therefore, why haven't we seen in this transformational budget duty-free concessions for 4x4 vehicles for persons that have been established and been operating businesses in the tourism sector for more than 20 years? It's easy to check who is a bona fide tourism operator. So I don't know, after 4 hours, it is lukewarm. And I'm just hoping that in the last, I can't imagine we have another hour, but I'm hoping that in the last couple of minutes, we're going to see some transformation and that there will be more money and more attempts to put funds and money into people's pockets, because that's what Guyanese need today. And that's what this budget should be doing. It's the first time in the last 2 years we have money. We didn't have it before. And it's only fair that it doesn't go to these big projects and these huge companies that already have the resources to even apply for the projects. And we're doing absolutely nothing to build capacity. Those are my thoughts.
Yep. Welcome back, folks. Those were some of the reactions to this $781.9 billion budget, the biggest budget ever. But folks, we cannot have, I don't want to discuss the budget. We hear from Ashley himself. We don't hear from Ashley himself. A number of things were dung. You know, in this economy, mid-year they were dung, and the year they're still dung. A number of things dung in this budget, folks. A number of things. Listen to the finance minister for a second or two, you know, going through the paces of this uninspiring, I think was one of the comments we heard, uninspiring budget. Listen to him for a few, folks. The minister with responsibility for finance within the office of the president. Minister with responsibility.
With 101,418 ounces declared in 2022, while output from the small and medium scale operators fell by 10.6% to 384,998 ounces, attributed to lower declarations from the top two dealerships. Mr. Speaker, output from the other mining and quarrying sector, which comprises diamond, sand, and stone mining, continued its upward trajectory, resulting in the sector expanding by an estimated 38.5%. Diamond declarations are estimated to have grown by 85.6% to 83,720 metric carats last year. Sand extraction and stone production are estimated to have grown by 35.6% and 18.6%. Supported by the heavy emphasis of construction activity in our government's public sector investment program, as well as rapid expansion in private sector construction activity. Notably, sir, within the other mining and quarrying sector, for the first time in the last 5 decades, 255,081 tons of manganese were produced in 2022. Good start. Mr. Speaker, the manufacturing sector is estimated to have expanded by 3.9% in 2022. While sugar manufacturing is estimated to have contracted by 18.9%, the rice manufacturing and other manufacturing subsectors are estimated to have grown 11.7% and 2.8% respectively. With respect to the latter, growth was driven largely by fabricated metal products, plastic products, and paper products, which grew by 4.9%, 35.7%, and 98.8% respectively. On the downside, there was a 33% contraction in the manufacture of pharmaceuticals and a 9% contraction in the manufacture of chemicals, particularly oxygen, amid lower COVID-19 related hospitalizations in 2022. Mr. Speaker, both electricity and water supply are estimated to have expanded in 2022 by 9.3% and 0.7% respectively. The expansion in electricity supply was driven by higher total consumption, while growth in water supply is attributed to higher demand, combined with the commissioning of 3 new wells, which were more productive than the wells removed from the distribution line due to failure or damage. Mr. Speaker, latest estimates in the construction sector indicate that
that is some of the budget presentation of the Minister with responsibility for finance, the senior minister with responsibility for finance within the office of the president, Ashley Singh. Some of his budget presentation there, and our very own Manzo Walton this year had some reactions to that budget presentation as well, as we gathered there at the National Assembly to see what was the offerings for the people of this country. There weren't many at all. Guys, they were not many at all. We were disappointed several times. We were waiting. We thought at least by now, free education would have been one of those things. We thought at least by this time, free education for them young people. And we know, just like us, last year you were disappointed, Gail. I see folks saying, here lies. Y'all know this information better than we do. You recognize the lies when you see it. Everything grow but Ashton is true. Isabella Bautez, you recognize the lies when you see them. Our very own Manzo Walton this year responding to what she heard coming out of budget 2023. The biggest budget ever, $71.9 billion. Manzo Walton this year. AWD.
The word that comes to mind is underwhelming. It is probably the most underwhelming budget I've heard in a very, very long time. Long on fluff and short on meaningful interventions and impactful projects. One would think that in an oil-producing economy, you would expect that the government to come with a bold and visionary budget. Alas, we had none of that today. Of course, Gaisuko has been given more money, notwithstanding Ashley Singh's own admission that production has fallen despite their interventions, and at least $12 billion allocated in 2022. Now, I expect that the $4 billion that was announced is the beginning of the subventions that we're going to see Gaisuko receiving, because I'm sure before the year ends, we'll have at least 3 supplementary requests for Gaisuko. So we can expect the government to pour more money down that black hole instead of right-sizing the industry or upskilling sugar workers, as we suggested last year, to prepare them for life beyond sugar. The allocation for the University of Guyana tremendously inadequate. As the premier tertiary institution, one would think that the government that claims to be so focused on education would have invested some more in the University of Guyana in order to bring it up to the international standards that we aspire to as an oil-producing nation. That will certainly need certain skills and skill sets to be able to manage an oil economy. So I am terribly unimpressed. Terribly unimpressed. It appears as though, and the theme throughout Ashley's budget presentation is, if it goes well or moderately well, kudos to them. If it fails, blame the APNUFC, Ukraine, Russia, everybody else but them. And so it continues the PPPC's just their whole ideological thrust. Again, we see big emphasis on infrastructure, and no emphasis on people, on human development. The PPP simply does not understand that it's human resources. The human resources of this country are our most important resource. And so you see this scant regard being paid to human development. We have big infrastructure products, more road, and it is mind-boggling to me that we're doing all of this and we're seeing now where the money from budget 2022 is gone. Look at the Burma Road collapsing after 6 months. Look at the Thomas Lands roads collapsing. We have a problem with the quality of our infrastructure projects in this country under the PPPC administration. And I anticipate that with all this money they're throwing behind infrastructure, we're going to see some more wastage of our taxpayers' dollars. We had pointed out last year that we should make very strident efforts to address the inefficiency gap, but we have not seen any meaningful interventions by this government. The procurement system continues to be broken, and so I think Guyanese could look forward to another dismal year.
Yep. Our very own Amanzo Walton this year. AWD on budget 2023. Yep, 781.9 billion. The biggest ever. Big for who? Right? Big headline. 50 billion in the pockets of the people. Right? 50 billion. You still got 700 and something billion left. That's for who? Friends, family, and favorites. Perhaps. Folks, we're going to continue to dissect this budget, to interrogate the budget, because maybe we missed something. Maybe they got something in there for people, for you and I, but we didn't find it yet. We're going to continue, folks, to interrogate the budget. We're going to continue to do so. We also heard from the leader of the opposition last evening, had such a punchy statement. His reactions to budget 2023. 781.9. Yeah, biggest. Leader of the opposition, Mr. Abidon.
A very critical issue is poverty. All the reports, IDB, every report is establishing that poverty is on the increase. And all you can get in this budget is something that suggests money to study poverty. I mean, it's ridiculous. This budget has no program for poverty alleviation nor poverty reduction. What should have already been done was for there to be people out there identifying the areas in which poverty is high, and then the budget should have had programs to deal with poverty and reduce poverty. And so this budget is found wanting when it comes to the need for measures to attenuate, alleviate, and ultimately eradicate poverty. This seems to be a budget for the rich. There is no place in this budget to deal with the issues facing the small man and allowing him to progress. So in some regard, this is an anti-working class, anti-poverty budget. It has nothing to deal with poverty and to improve the lives of the working people of Guyana.
Yep. Correct on all points. True and correct on all points. As I said, we're going to continue to interrogate this budget. The last has not been heard. We're going to continue to interrogate this budget to see if anything we miss. And I got some things for you folks in here. Right? If we miss anything, we can continue to interrogate folks and let you know if we miss anything, what it is, if anything. Y'all got a story for us? Do let us know. Do let us know, guys. If y'all got a story for 627-6963, and let me pay some bills. We got some advertising space, you know. Folks, we got some advertising space for you guys. Your products, your service, your business, your event, right there could be. Right there could be featured with hundreds of folks watching you. It could be featured right there. right there, folks. Remember to partner with us as well. We can't do these programs without you. Fantastic, beautiful folks. We're available via Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union as well. All for your convenience, folks. This is so important to us. We thank you for your love, your support, and your generosity, folks. We thank you. And if you guys are looking for a good law firm, you need some guidance. You need some advice. You need a commission of oaths to affidavits. You need just a piece. The Alistair Collins firm. Let it be the one for y'all. Let it be the one for you. Here's some of the other services.
For all your legal document needs and more, the Alistair Collins firm is the place for you. If you are looking to have your statutory declarations done, affidavit of income, affidavit of identity, or guidance replacing your damaged or lost passport or lost license, you need the Alistair Collins firm. They can also help you with tenancy agreements, agreements of settlement, your power of attorney, your last will and testament, and certification of documents. The Alistair Collins firm is located at the Callion Mall, 162 Lamar Street in Georgetown between Camp and Waterloo Streets. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths to affidavits and a justice of the peace. You can also call them at 649-6410 or 685-6446 or 503-1451. The Alistair Collins firm. Help when you need it. For all your legal document needs,
Yep.
the
And I want you to
Alistair
know.
Collins firm is the place for you. If you are looking to have your statutory declarations done, affidavit of income, affidavit of identity.
Yep. And I want you folks to know, again, Commissioner to Oaths and Affidavits, Justice of the Peace, folks. The Alistair Collins firm. Yep. And we said, folks, we read him more. We read him more in 2023. God knows, them boys trying to pull wool over your eyes. You got to read so much more. So much more. So much more. We got to read more.
I'm happy to be able to tell you and to bring you the news that we have now got many of the favorite things you've been looking for in December for Christmas presents. Across here, we got these perennial bestseller classics: Kidnapped, Little Women, Little Men, Joe's Boys, Treasure Island, Robinson Crusoe, and so on. Further down the line, you will see Enid Blyton's. I think we got about 45 different titles of Enid Blyton's, the Secret Sevens and the Famous Fives, and all the other series that she has. Going even further down this line of the store, we got some of these classics at the top here. Those are here for the Christmas season, but I think people prefer the more colorful looking ones. They are so well written and adjudged to be classic. It's something that conferred upon them, like how you say Sir and Madam and so on. These books, because of the quality, have been deemed to be classics by those in the literary world. Not all books are designated classics. It's a special breed of books, a special type. So when you pick up a Kidnap and all these kinds of books here, these are considered classics. Oh, I just put my eyes upon Tolkien's The Hobbit. We haven't had this in the store for years. And we got now a number of them. Battles of Tolkien. What's this one? Atlas of Tolkien. You got even a dictionary of Tolkien. Dark Powers of Tolkien. And then we got to move over to the other side where we have some really attractive children's books.
Yep. So we're improving our reading, folks, in 2023. And not only are good books for you yourself, but make good gifts as well. They make good gifts as well. That's going to do it for us, folks. Share the live and expose the truth, folks. Share and expose. Share the live, expose the truth. We got hundreds of you still watching us, guys, and we're so humbled by that. Hundreds of you still watching us. Before you run off, before you go, share the live, smash that emoji button, guys, and partner with us as well. Great to see each and every one of you who are here with us. Yvette Madu, good to see you. Valletta Marcus is here to Gwyneth Anderson. Good to see each and every one of you guys. Smash that emoji button first. As I said, as we move forward, we're going to interrogate more and more of this budget. We're waiting to see what some other folks, some other analysts are going to be saying about the budget as well. We're going to have all of that for you good people. Share the live, smash that emoji button, partner with us. Eva Sheila Boy Child, we see you there. Sheila Boy Child says, money for the boys. Believe you all fun parts. We see you there as well. Gene Williams and all the other guys. Stay safe. Stay safe. Smash that emoji button for us, especially those folks watching us on Facebook. Hundreds of you still watching us. Share the live for us, guys. Do us that big favor. Gene and Yvette and Rena Cummins, GT Miguel, good to see you. Been a little while, but good to have you. Nonetheless, we're going to see you guys a little later on in the day. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe out there. Yep. We are there.